Right, how are we doing everybody? Welcome to Russell Heritage Golf. Hopefully you're all keeping really good. Now, in today's video, I think this is possibly the greatest tip that you could give to any golfer, whether it's a complete beginner, a friend of yours who is potentially struggling, or you could flip it on its head and say this is what all good golfers do. Now, just quickly, we've got some high handicap golfers coming onto the channel next week. So I've been listening to you, watching those comments, and I am making sure that they will feature next week on the channel. Really looking forward to that. But what I wanted to do in today's video is get this tip across to you, because now we have seen 4 different golfers. We have seen Mark, our low handicapper, John, our low handicapper, Lynn and Wayne, our mid handicap golfers. And those of you that have been watching it, and if you haven't, in the playlist below you can see Mark, John, Lynn's and Wayne's progression right underneath, and you can watch the videos just in case you're new to this one. They're all working on different sort of stuff, right? They're all working on different stuff. Mark is kind of battling a little bit of an over-the-top move. Lynn, a little bit too long and loose in that backswing position. We're trying to also keep that club face a little more under control. John, trying to make sure that trail arm doesn't straighten too much, and Wayne just watching that the club face doesn't get too closed in the backswing position. But although all those swings are different, effectively what we are trying to do is exactly the same thing, which is improve that impact position. Now, what do we mean by this? Well, most amateur golfers, right, get a little bit flippy. Now, the problem when you get a bit flippy, this just basically means that the club head is getting to the back of the ball and in this low point, which we're going to talk about today, is overtaking the hands in that sort of hitting area. Similar to what I'm sort of demonstrating here. This is a little bit of a flip. Now, the problem when you get a bit flippy is then it leaks to a compensation in things like your alignment, which we've already seen. So if you start flipping, that means the club face is potentially going to be closing a little premature. And then therefore that means that you have to aim to compensate for the flip. And all of a sudden then it just starts to play a bit of mind games on you, because subconsciously you can't aim straight because you can't hit it straight. You're reliant on a flip, and it just becomes a little bit of guesswork. So we need to make sure that we eradicate this. Now, not only from a face-on perspective is it important to get your hands forward, as I'm demonstrating here. See the way that my hands are leading in towards this hit. But it's also important from the side-on perspective as well, because if my hands lead coming in towards the hit, then it helps keep the golf club on plane. If we let the club head overtake the hands, can you see the way now it shoves the golf club on an out to in club path? And this is kind of, like I said, what we're seeing. We're seeing a couple of golfers that are struggling with out to in club path, and we're seeing a couple of golfers that are managing the club path okay, but getting a bit flippy and flipping it to the left. So what can you do, and what is the greatest tip that you can do? A real simple tip. And what I suggest to people that I work with online is I say, right, what you have to do for your level of consistency is you have to control the low point. And what the low point means is basically, shall we just keep it simple and say it's where the club is striking at its lowest point in the swing. And the golf club, it goes up, down and up. And if you can control consistently where the club head strikes down on the back of the ball, then what that's going to do is that's going to, not only is it going to give you a decent contact, but it's also going to give you good club face stability. So it's a really important thing. The easiest way to do this is just in a mirror at home, or you can record yourself doing this and just flip it onto that selfie mode. What you want to do is you want to concentrate on your lead shoulder, okay? And you just want to kind of swing the club back in a baseball sort of fashion. And all you have to do is you just have to make sure that your hands win the race in the reflection to your lead shoulder socket ahead of the club head. So what we don't want is we don't want to flip like this. We don't want the club head getting to the shoulder socket prior to the hands. We have to make sure the hands get there, then the club head gets there. So it looks more hands, club head, not club head, hands. That's the flip. And when you start doing this, I'm just going to let me show you again that flipping motion. So if I show you the club head hands, and then I show you that from the golf perspective. See, club head hands. See the way it's kind of like that casting over the top sort of move. Instead of if I show you hands, club head. Do you see the difference in here? Hands, club head. And that's what I'm trying to suggest. Not only will it help you with that face-on perspective, but it will help you with that side-on perspective as well. Now, my final point is I don't care how you release it. I've stopped caring about that, and that's one of the reasons why, again, I'm really looking forward to showcasing all these golfers' development. I'm not bothered whether a golfer wants to work on a rolling release or a drive hold release or say like a hockey slapping release. I genuinely don't care, right? I never change anything of anybody's release pattern. I think it's governed by how you grip the golf club. I think it's governed by how you see and feel it. So some people that I work with, they can't comprehend a rolling release. They can't get it into their head that it won't go miles left. So I'm like, fine, I don't care. Hit it with the back of your right hand if you want to. But what you have to do is you have to make sure your hands get to the shoulder socket first. So you go hands to the shoulder socket. Then if you want to flap that right wrist at it, slap it with that right wrist, fine. If you want to roll it more, so you drive it and roll it, I don't care. And neither should you. But you have to eliminate the flip. So don't fight this battle where if you release the club pretty good and you're controlling the low point and you're getting the club face square, but you don't like the way it looks, I wouldn't fight that battle. And that's exactly what we're going to be seeing in the upcoming weeks as well on the channel. So the greatest tip that you can share to any golfer who's struggling is, hey, you know your hands are supposed to be ahead of the club head when you hit the ball. And then when they're practicing that, you just get them doing this drill and you go hands under your shoulder socket, then the club head, and then they can start to get that feeling. And if you look at yesterday's video when we did a cane drill, which was something that I recommended for John, one of our golfers, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. I've got this Total Golf trainer here, and the idea is that obviously this misses like so and then like so, and it's always trying to educate the same thing, and that's it. So I'll catch up with you guys again in a few days. Got some good course management videos coming out. Got some higher handicap videos coming out as well later this week. Lots and lots of stuff to look forward to. I'll catch up with you guys again really soon.